What's going on, everybody? It's Nathaniel Amaral back at it. And guys, the last video, or the second last video that we posted, the one about Steve Will Do It, you guys crushed it. It has almost 4K views. It's been absolutely killing it. But that's not why you are here today. You're here today because of the title of this video, right? So stay tuned with me, like, comment, and subscribe. In the next kind of 8 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the Evergrande crisis, the Fed crisis, and kind of what's happening around the world and what it means for you and crypto. So for those of you that don't know, Evergrande is actually the second largest real estate developer company in China. They have a huge market cap and employ, based on Forbes from what they're saying, is over 125,000 employees. So this Evergrande crisis, what's actually happening in China right now? So this company, like I just mentioned, is the second largest real estate development company in China. So they buy plots of land in China, they build residential buildings, they build hospitals, they build a whole bunch of things that actually build up the infrastructure in China themselves. But what's actually happening with Evergrande? So Evergrande became such a huge company that they actually started investing their money into other things, such as theme parks, water bottles, and soccer teams. And they even had an electric vehicle car come out that actually flopped completely. So what does this actually mean for the company? Well, if a company has so much money and then they're reinvesting it into so many different things like water bottles and soccer teams and electric vehicle cars, and they don't produce any profit, what they're doing is over leveraging their company. Hi, so this is Nathaniel, the information person. So if you guys don't know what leverage means, essentially leverage is borrowing or using somebody else's money in order to help you buy something worth more. So I can go to a bank and get, let's say, $1,000 on margin, and the bank will give me a 30-to-1 leverage or a 30-to-1 margin. And what that means is for every dollar that I bring, the bank or some other loaner will give me $30 more. So this is essentially what Evergrande was doing. They were using a certain amount of money, a certain amount of capital, and over leveraging and using too much leverage that they were then not able to pay. Because remember, every time you use somebody else's money, they're going to charge you interest on that money, and they're going to want that back. That amount of capital plus the interest. So I hope that helped explain leverage. So when a company over leverage, as you just heard me explaining, it ultimately will put the company in a really bad position. And that's exactly what's happening with Evergrande. They've over leveraged themselves too far that they can no longer pay their shareholders back. Evergrande is in debt for a whopping $300 billion. And what does that mean for the Chinese government and the Chinese economy? Since they are the second largest real estate development company within China, if they go bankrupt, the entire economy will start to actually flop and fall down its knee. So why was this actually allowed to happen with Evergrande? Well, there was a shift in the Chinese market in and around about 2010, where they saw a real estate bubble, where somebody could buy property in China and it would double, if not triple in value in a very short amount of time. Essentially what's happening in Canada right now. And what happened was Evergrande was over leveraging themselves in order to buy more property and allowing individuals to come in as shareholders so that they could keep developing and create and grow up their business. Well, the problem with that is that now China is going under, their bubble seems to have been popping, where now they cannot get the same value for the properties that they once purchased. So how does this escalate their problem? Well, we just said that Evergrande owes $300 billion to shareholders. They're trying to liquidate their positions and sell some of their properties, but they can't sell it for even what they paid for it. So basically what happens is the value of the properties are going down. Coronavirus has been affecting the property market in China, so that's depressing the economy. But you know what doesn't stop? Interest rates and loan payments. So these people that bought bonds, yields, and whatnot, are still asking for their money back from Evergrande. And what's Evergrande saying? We don't got no money for you, man. We can't pay you back because we're in debt $300 billion. So they escalated to a point that they were actually threatening their own employees, telling them to pay back some money to Evergrande so they could pay their loans. So I know what you're asking, how the heck does this affect us here in Canada or in the US or anywhere else that you're watching this video from? Well, it affects you because a lot of index funds and large corporations have invested in Evergrande and they cannot get their money back. Thus, if they can't get their money back, they're in huge debt and lose money. They went so far as central banks were actually telling people to make sure and mitigate the amount of risk and exposure they had to Evergrande because they can see it falling flat on its face. So this is a huge problem, and sorry China and anybody out there, you essentially created a Ponzi scheme, which was, you were trying to sell people or tell people that your company was so good, but essentially they're not that good and they weren't great, and you're actually in debt way too much money. So how does this affect cryptocurrency? So Tether is one of the major cryptocurrencies and stable coins that a lot of people keep cash in. So that instead of just taking out their money from, the digital currencies, they'll transfer it into Tether and keep it as kind of like a safe store of cash. Well, let me break something to you that you might not already know. Tether actually is a store of cash, and nobody knows really where they keep their cash from, or where they keep their cash. Evergrande has said that Tether is their commercial paper, and thus they keep a lot of cash within Tether. So if Evergrande goes belly up, what do you think is going to happen to Tether? And if Tether goes belly up, what do you think is going to happen to all the other cryptocurrencies that are against Tether? You get what I'm trying to say here about why this is a big problem. So what is my opinion and what do I think is going to happen? Most likely, today the filming this video is Wednesday, so this will probably go up Thursday, Friday, so by then you'll have some news about what actually happened. My opinion is the Chinese government will most likely bail them out, as they are too big of a company, and the Chinese government understands and knows that if they go belly up, their whole economy goes belly up, or at least goes under a huge recession, and the Chinese already don't have a lot of trust because of something crazy like, the pandemic. So that's what I think is going to happen. The Chinese government, they are going to bail them out, and they're going to be able to pay off their debt loans, which actually are due to be paid on Thursday. So we'll see what happens on that. With cryptocurrency, I don't think the cryptocurrency market is going to crash anytime soon. I do think we're going to see a bit of a pullback, especially with the S&P 500 and Dow Jones reaching all-time highs. We are going to see a bit of a pullback because of this, and potentially with the Fed's meeting happening on Thursday also, we'll see what's going to come about during that Fed meeting. So I hope you guys liked that video. That was a snippet of information. Again, there's a whole lot more to this story, so please go check it out. Do your own due diligence, and if you like it, all I ask you, comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos of how much are they making, and stay tuned for everything personal finance, everything money, and everything life, and everything Manny, because he's a cool guy too. Or Drippy Seth. Always making that mistake. Anyway, catch you guys in the next one. Later.